itself. A wire rope choker hitch does not have the full capacity of the straight leg vertical hitch. The choker hitch capacity is approximately 75% of the straight leg vertical hitch. This capacity assumes that the angle of choke is at least 120 degrees. Some standards, such as API RP2D, also in environments, require slings of all types when used in a choker hitch application to have a capacity of no more than 70% of the straight leg vertical hitch. The sling's capacity is reduced further if the angle of choke is less than 120 degrees. In fact, if the sling is bent back over itself, with the angle of its choke approaching 0 degrees, the sling's capacity would be reduced by 50%. A single leg choker hitch is easy and convenient to use and can work well on simple forward loads, but it does not always provide the load control and grip needed for safe and effective rigging. Sometimes multiple leg slings on both ends of the load are required to gain the load control necessary. If choker hitches are used, the user must always ensure that the slings cannot slip or slide along the load. It is important to note that a standard choker hitch does not provide a full 360-degree contact with the load. A double wrap choker hitch is better for handling those hard-to-handle loads and bundles of materials like rods or pipe that require more sling contact to hold them in place. Make sure the slings do not overlap at the bottom of the load when you form the double wrap choker. As a final note, the user should always ensure that the wire rope slings are protected from edges, corners, protrusions, or abrasive surfaces in order to protect the sling from any damage.
Crosby screw pin and bolt type shackles, sizes 3/16 inch to 3 inch, can be used in side loading applications when installed correctly with the pin secure and the direction of loading is in the plane of the shackle bow, as shown in Crosby's general catalog. However, a reduction in the shackle's working load limit is required when side loading occurs. It is important to point out that side loading of a round pin shackle is never allowed. It is secured by a cotter pin that could shear when side loaded. When the direction of pull is vertical, perpendicular to the shackle pin, no reduction in the shackle's working load limit is required. However, if the shackle is subjected to a side load of 45 degrees from vertical, the shackle's working load limit must be reduced to 70% of the shackle's rated capacity. Thus, when a screw pin or bolt type shackle is subjected to a 45-degree side load, the shackle loses 30% of its published working load limit. If the screw pin or bolt type shackle is subjected to a 90-degree side load from vertical, the adjusted working load limit would be 50% of the shackle's rated capacity. Thus, when a screw pin or bolt type shackle is subjected to a 90-degree side load, the shackle loses 50% of its published working load limit. It is important to state that when a shackle is used as a collector ring to gather multiple sling legs as shown, this is not considered a side loading circumstance. When the slings are collected with the included angle not greater than 120 degrees, this would be considered a balanced load, and the shackle's working load limit would not require a reduction.
Using two slings in a true inline load, each side will see half the total weight. From the Crosby lifting guide, notice that for a 90-degree horizontal sling angle, the load angle factor is 1. In this example, the total load is 5,000 pounds, which is divided by 2 for each sling leg, and then multiplying by the load factor, which is 1. The result is that each side lifts 2,500 pounds. To select the proper bolt, refer to the Crosby lifting guide. Note that the panel does not mention the S279 because the information is the same for all Crosby shoulder eye bolts. We need to select an eye bolt whose working load limit exceeds the required load of 2,500 pounds. which in this case is a 1/2 inch machinery eye bolt with an inline working load limit of 2,600 pounds. Let's now look at how increasing the horizontal angle affects the size fitting required. For 60 degrees, the load angle factor is 1.155. Again, we divide the load of 5,000 pounds by 2, and then multiply by the load factor to determine the load each sling leg will see. In this case, each sling is loaded to 2,887.5 pounds. We will round the calculated load to 2,888 pounds. Referring to the lifting guide, you will notice 4 columns showing the rated capacity of Crosby shoulder eye bolts at various horizontal angles. Crosby shoulder eye bolts have a catalog rating based on inline loading. As side loading occurs on the eye bolts, they must be downrated. The smaller the horizontal angle, the greater the reduction in the working load limit. As an example, let's look at the 1/4 inch size. At 90 degrees or inline, the rating is 650 pounds. As the horizontal angle changes, so does the resulting working load limit of the eye bolt. At 60 degrees, the rating is 420 pounds. At 45 degrees, the rating is 195 pounds. And at horizontal angles less than 45 degrees, the working load limit has been reduced to 160 pounds.